Good day, brothers and sisters. Today's discussion is about Lesson 3, Caught in Between Modern and Contemporary Art. So, what comes into your mind when you hear the word contemporary or modern art? Modern art refers to an era that has passed, or an era ages ago. And this era ranges from 1860 to 1970. On the other hand, contemporary art means present today or now. And this era ranges from 1970 to present. In short, contemporary art is all about now and the future. Modern art came before contemporary art. While contemporary art describes current work of art, usually those still living and creating artwork or those who have only very recently died or retired. Many styles of art developed during the modern period, including Expressionism, Fauvism, Cubism, Expressionism, Surrealism, Pop art, OP art, Art Nouveau, or Art Deco. Contemporary art made art as a whole to reflect the current issues that hound our world today, such as racism, globalization, third world country oppression, feminism, among many others. So, if modern art and contemporary art have differences, they have also a similarity. And that similarity, both can be considered revolutionary. Revolutionary, according to Merriam-Webster, is constituting or bringing about a major or fundamental change.
Hi, so for today's lesson, let's discuss about the interrelation of modern and contemporary art. So, what is interrelation? The meaning of interrelation is that one and the other have some sort of similarity between them. What I mean about that is they have the same texture. So now, let's discuss about modern art. Ano nga ba ang modern art? Modern art is the creative world response to the rationalist practices and perspective of the new lives and ideas provided by the technological advances of the industrial age. It is a way artists can express themselves without thinking of others' opinions about them or what they paint. Now let's discuss the different styles of artwork during the modern era. So now let's discuss about Neo-Impressionism. This painting create the effect of light. Symbolism. Ano nga bang symbolism? Symbolism represents absolute truth symbolically through language and metaphorical images, mainly as a reaction against naturalism and realism. So now let's talk about Fauvism. Fauvism, it has a brilliant color aggressively applied straight from the paint tubes to create a sense of an explosion on the canvas. Our next topic is about Cubism. They brought different views of subject, usually objects or figures together in the same picture, resulting in paintings that appear fragmented and abstracted. Futurism. It emphasizes dynamism, speed, technology, youth, violence, and objects, such as the car, the airplane, and the industrial city. Expressionism. Vivid colors and bold strokes were often used to exaggerate these emotions and feelings, showed influences from post-impressionism. So we are done with discussing modern art. Punta naman tayo sa contemporary art. Ano nga ba ang contemporary art? Contemporary art is the term used for art at the present day. Usually the artists are alive and still making work. Contemporary art is often about ideas and concerns rather than solely the aesthetic, the look of the work. Artists try different ways of experimenting with ideas and materials. Let's discuss about the examples of contemporary art. First, we have is painting. Second is sculpture. The third one is drawing. The fourth one is printmaking. Next we have is collage. And we have photography. Lastly, we have is video art. I'm going to show a video of ano nga ba ang example ng video art. So, to summarize the lesson, modern and contemporary art can both be considered revolutionary, but contemporary art is more about experimentation and freedom. Modern art is an expression of individuality, while contemporary art focuses on social impact with society as a primary focus. Anyways, this is the end of my lesson. I hope you enjoy it and thank you for watching.
So, good day everyone. Today we will be discussing about the different contemporary movements. So, first one here is the abstract expressionism in early 1940s to mid 1960s. Abstract expressionism took the basic tenets of abstraction and combined with gestural techniques such as brush strokes, mark making, and a rugged spontaneity in its visual articulation. When we say spontaneity, it's all about the naturalness of the artwork. So listed in the screen are the individuals or the artists that that has a connection to abstract expressionism, or their artwork is under abstract expressionism. So we have here Clifford Steele, Jackson Pollock, William D. Conning, Barnett Newman, and Mark Rothko. So these artists are committed to create abstract works that had the ability to convey an illicit emotion or draw emotions, especially those residing in the subconscious or those who are not yet fully aware. So we have here an example or an artwork under abstract expressionism by Jackson Pollock, The Autumn Rhythm. So there are two major styles of abstract expressionism, which are action painting and color field. When we say action painting, it's it underscored the process of creation in that showed the physicality, direction, and most often the spontaneity of the actions that make drifts and strokes possible. So, when we say action painting, it's all about a direct artwork or the spontaneously dribble the splash onto the canvas rather than being carefully applied. So parang the artwork is made by drips and strokes of paints. That. So next one is the color field. Color field emphasized the emotional power of colors from vivid demarcations to the more toned down transitions. These bands of color were akin to the effect of landscape. So colorful, color field, I mean. So color field is a large-scale canvases dominated by flat expanses of color and having a minimum of surface detail. So here is an example of action painting. So from the artwork on the screen, we can see that it's not applied carefully, wherein the artwork is created by just applying the paint or splashing the paint. So next is the color field. Yeah, example of color field. So next one is the optical art or op art in early 1960s onward. It relied on creating an illusion to inform the experience of artwork using color pattern and other perspective tricks that artists had on their sleeves, from making it seem like a section was protruding or receded in the background to creating movement showed a certain kind of dynamism. So listed also here are the artists under optical art or the artwork that are under optical art. We have Victor, Peter, Richard, Bridget Riley, Israel, Jesus or Jesus, Gunther, Enrico, and Carlos Cruz Diaz. So here is an example of an artwork of Bridget Riley that are under optical art or op art. So we can, as we can see in the artwork, we have this, or the artwork creates movement that showed a certain kind of dynamism. Yeah. Illusion. Next one is the kinetic art, 1950s onward. Kinetic art is all about harnessing the current and direction of the wind. Components of the artwork, which was predominantly sculptural, most were mobiles and even motor. Driven machines was an example of how art and technology can be brought together. So we also have here the different artists under kinetic art, Nayum Gabo, Alexander Kahler, Jan Tringali, Bridget Riley, Nicholas, and Theo Jansen, who used plastic tubes and PVC pipes in his massive sculptures or beasts. So here is an example of artwork under kinetic art, Fountain by Nayum Gabo, and an artwork of Theo Jansen, which uses plastic tubes and PVC pipes. Next is Gutai. Gutai in 1950s to 1970s. The founder of Gutai is Yoshihara Jiro in 1952. Gutai means embodiment or concreteness. It preceded the latter forms of performance and conceptual art. The goal was not only to explore the materiality of the implements used in the performance, but also to hold a deeper desire to make sense of the relationship that is struck between the body, movements, and the spirit of the interaction during the process of creation. So, hindi lang basta-basta yung goal ng Gutai, hindi lang siya all about the material na nagamit, but also yung desire of the artist na the desire of the artist while doing or while creating a certain artwork. These movements straddle between multiple platforms from the performance, theatrical events, and installation, and even painting. So here is an example of Electric Dress by Atsuko Tanaka under Gutai. Yeah. Next one is minimalism in 1960s in New York. Minimalism is an extreme type of abstraction that favored geometric shapes, color fields, and the use of objects and materials that had an industrial sparse. Below is the artwork of Francis Morlet, which is 10 lines of hazard. So we can see here geometric shapes. So yun yung sense or yun yung characteristic of an artwork under minimalism. So next is pop art. Pop art, pop art's aim is to elevate popular culture as something at par with fine art. A defining feature was the discussion on the hierarchy of high culture and low culture, fine art and low art. According to Richard Hamilton in 1957, pop art is popular or designed for a mass audience, transient, short-term solution, expendable, easily forgotten, low cost, mass-produced, young, or aimed at youth, and witty, sexy, gimmicky, glamorous, and big business. So here is an example of an artwork under pop art, which is by Roy Crying Girl. Next one is postmodernism. Postmodernism first used in 1970. The term was difficult to affix to any style or theory, and perhaps that was the point. Postmodernism encroaches on the smaller movements that included conceptual art, neo-expressionism, feminist art, and the young British artists of the 19,000s, among others. So here is an example of postmodernism. Yes. Exhaling Pearls sculpture by Joseph Hebel. So next one is neo-pop art. Dada is a ready-made material used for artwork. So neo-pop art is similar to Dada or neo-Dada. Dada is also a movement that was very much against the values of the bourgeois. The war ensued because of the values movement abhors and despises. So Dada is the idea that anything could be classified as an art. So neo-pop art has the influence of pop art. So here is an example of an artwork under neo-pop art.
Photorealism. Photorealism is a form of contemporary art that uses a photograph to create a highly realistic reproduction of the image in another medium, typically painting, drawing, and other graphic media method. Photorealism emerged in the late 1960s. Layunin ng isang photorealist ay makuha ang esensya ng larawan sa canvas. Chuck Close and Gerhard Richter were known to be a photorealist, where the realist depictions is a choice in its proof how varied and fragmented postmodernist is. Some example of photorealism. Conceptualism. Conceptualism is an idea or concept behind a work of art become more important than the actual technical skill or aesthetic. This fought against the idea that art is commodity. Ang idea o proseso ng produksyon ng likhang sining ay makitang mas mahalaga kaysa sa aktual na resulta. Mga pangunahing konseptual na artista ay sina Jeanne Holzer, Damien Hirst, at Ai Weiwei. Some example of conceptualism. Performance task. Performance art is an art exhibition created through action executed by the artist or other participant. It may be witnessed live or through documentation, spontaneously developed or written, and it's traditionally presented to a public in a fine art context and in an interdisciplinary mode. Some examples of performance art include dance, theatre, opera, music, spoken word, mime, and other performance. Marina Abramovic, Yoko Ono, Joseph Wei are well-known artists of performance art. In performance art, ang mga madla o tagapanood ay kasabuat upang makaisa katuparan ang performance. Installation art. Installation art is a kind of immersive work where the environment or the space in which the viewer step into interact with a transformed or altered. Isa itong uri ng sining na nakakapag-ingganyong gawain kung saan ang kapaligiran o ang espasyo kung saan nakikipag-ugnayan ang mga manunood ay binago. Ang mga kilalang installation artist ay sina Alan Capro, Yayoi Kusama, at Dale Chihuly. Mga halimbawa ng installation art. Earth art. Earth art is the natural environment or a specific site or space and transformed by artists. A kind of human intervention into a specific landscape or terrain. Ang earth art ay isang paggawa ng mga istruktura sa landscape gamit ang mga natural na materialis tulad ng mga bato o sanga. Robert Simpson, Ricardo Long, Andy Goldsworthy, and Jean Claude are known in this art movement. Lastly, street art. Street art is created in a public space typically without officially permission. An art movement that is related to graffiti as it by-product of rise of graffiti in the 1980s. Ito ang isang sining na nilikha sa isang pampublikong espasyo na walang pahintulot sa mga opisyalis, tulad ng ginagawa sa Baguio sa may Station Road. Mga halimbawa ng street art. Mikhail Basquiat, Kate Haring, Shepard Fairey, and Banksy are known to be the street artists.